I'm William Shatner. I've done a lot of things in my career, but this takes the cake. This is so cool. You, Joseph, today, it's all about you. You won the internet. Congratulations. It's exciting. It makes me want to celebrate. Makes me want to get up out of this chair. Makes me want to sing. Makes me want to dance. Makes me want to shout. Kick my heels up. Throw my hands up. Toss my head back. No, really, people should be shouting your name in the street.
Come on now. Sing
that song.
Joseph,
Sing it out loud.
Joseph.
I want to celebrate. Put it up in lights. See, no one else deserves to be celebrated like you because you are the best.
Joseph Jaffe is not famous. Me, Tom Arnold, I am very famous. I absolutely like, because it's very true. Like, I hadn't freaking heard of you until I was sitting on a Friday night. This is how bad my life is. Listen, fucker, good luck. Good luck with your rebranding. Like anybody knew what the name was before. What was the name? Okay, who gives a shit? That's a good name because it's got your name in it. You can pretend you're humble. You say, I'm not famous. And, which you aren't. So you're just, I mean, anyway, but I hope you get famous doing this. Good luck to you.
Woody hoo!
Woody hoo! Out here in the stream, as in the streaming era, I fight for my dreams. I get my heart into my living.
You encourage drinking or marijuana use on the show?
I don't need a fight, cause Evelyn's right. Or you could sponsor an emu. I'm Batman.
That's your tweetable moment, folks. That's your tweetable moment. If Mark Zuckerberg makes a metaverse, is that Web3? No, it's Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse.
He's like us. He's flawed.
Just a little segue.
That's some dope shit, dude. That's really, really nice.
Woody hoo!
Woody hoo! Woody hoo! Hello, everybody. Hello, how are you? It is March 10th. It is Thursday, and I'm wearing my Rockstar clothes because we have a real rock star in the house. A very famous person. I know I say my next guest is famous because I'm not famous, but we've got, I can't believe it. How lucky am I to be able to have Chris Daughtry in the house? It's incredible. I was paying attention this morning. No, it's not Chris Daughtry. Chris Daughtry wishes. It's the Manny Cabo in the house. I mean, come on. This guy doesn't look like a rock star. This guy is a rock star. I almost put on my fake tats and, painted my nails. But, I would have just been an imposter. I actually heard the other day, and I love this, which is the only people that don't have imposter syndrome are imposters, right? Because they're imposters. So think about that. If you don't have imposter syndrome, you might be an imposter, whatever. So Lubna is here. She said, I am looking forward to the conversation. And Upgrade Your Life said, should be interesting. That's making me nervous. I hope it is more than interesting. Gino is here. Hoe gaat het? Dankjewel, Gino. Good morning to you. We've got the giraffes are in the house. Lubna says, rock star clothes indeed. And Brian Piper is here. He said, congratulations. Don't steal my thunder. 11th place in rally. Does that mean I finished? I finished 11th. So close. Maybe next time. And my mother is here. She is watching. I'll tell you one thing about Manny and myself is we love our mothers. We absolutely love our mothers very much. Jaffe going Dutch. It's a Dutch auction. And if you know what that is, then you understand what a stroopwafel is. So let's get on with the show, my fine feathered friends. What a wonderful, wonderful week we've had. Tim Redmond in the house, a little bit of harmonica playing. It was absolutely awesome. Julie Morris, Dr. Ingrid Mura, talking about democratizing confidence and Uberizing orthodontics. Love it. And Manny today. And there's a whole conversation going on. I'm loving it. Even Tom Morris, our resident philosopher, who will be delivering his vignette on philosophy, watching on an exercise walk. So you'll be watching yourself. And Gino says, hi, Mama Jaffe. I love the fact that everyone is now shouting out to my mom. Oh, a stroopwafel, especially when warm. Who doesn't like it? So I will let you guys continue your conversation because today we're focusing on Manny Cabo. But before we get there, just a few reminders. Tomorrow is NFT Fridays, and we've got the non-fungible people in the house. Manny Cabo is a non-fungible rock star because there's only one. It's like he's the Highlander of rock stars. There can only be one. So we welcome him in shortly. And a reminder, there's lots of stuff to give away today. Well, tomorrow I will give away this incredible Girlies NFT. I don't know what the floor is, but I know it was about 0.11 when I checked last. In order to do that, remember, you basically have to leave 10% of your will to me. And in addition, subscribe to the show's channel on YouTube, paste the YouTube username in the show's Discord, join the Girlies NFT Discord, follow Jaffe Juice and Girlies NFT on Twitter. Just all of that. It's easy. Just go into my Not Famous Discord and leave your YouTube username to show that you are subscribed to this show in the giveaways channel. And speaking of giveaways, Brian, thank you so much for ruining my parade. It turns out this morning in coffee, I do coffee every morning at 5 a.m. In the Gary Club with the giraffes. And if you're wondering what giraffes, we're talking about the giraffe tower. We're talking about the giraffe NFT incredible collection. It's not a collection, it's a community. It is a collective, not a collection. We found out that my coin on Rally was 14th place overall. But guess what? A bunch of the community decided to support the coin. And right now, I'm 11th. The funny story about being 11th is in South Africa when, and by the way, Manny, I'm from South Africa. I was gonna mention it on air. I'm not from the UK. I hate the Brits. No, that's just a little bit of the Monty Python, which is, are you the Judean People's Front? Fuck off. We're the People's Front of Judea. We hate those bastards. What the hell was I even saying? I have no idea. But anyway, I'm 11th right now on Rally, and I hope it stays there. In South Africa, when you did your BCom CASA, when you did your articles to become an accountant, they only told you if you were in the top 10. So if you finished anywhere between 11th and probably 11,000, people would just say, where did you finish? Oh, I finished 11th. Everyone seemed to finish 11th, of course. But speaking of which, I don't expect you to do anything with my coin. I give you coin every single day. And today, to celebrate Manny, well, there's going to be a little bit of a catch. I'm giving away 2 whole Jaffe coins. That's about just under $20 to anybody watching live between now and 2 p.m. But, and here's the but, you need to hold 20 Jaffe coins. So I'm essentially, if all you do is hold 20 Jaffe coin, I will give you 10% over and above. In fact, I'm not giving it to you. The community is giving it to you as well. So 2 whole Jaffe coin, that is a record. I've never given away more than 1. But this is double the pleasure, double the fun that you get from a Manny Cabo mint gum. Well, you know, I'm going to have to work on a little bit of that copywriting, but that's just a little bit of something special to give you today. Lubna says, Jaffe for a top 10 position. I hope not. I hope I stick around in 11th place as well. Lubna says, a non-fungible rock star. Indeed, we're going to get to him soon enough. Brian adds, super excited to hear from Manny today, as am I. So let's get into it. And today's seated soliloquy is called Vulnerable. And of course, it is inspired by and dedicated to my very special guest. So why did there were so many things actually that I could have decided to talk about in my soliloquy, but I wanted to talk about this idea of being vulnerable or vulnerability in general. And I've learned this and I've experienced this from my guest today, from Manny, in terms of him sharing, in terms of him giving us a little glimpse, a window into his soul and into his heart. Yesterday, we talked about how a smile is the window to your soul. But with Manny, it's very different. And the thing is, he really is literally a rock star. And I was thinking, in life, we want to project a rock star image. I'm a big deal. The way we dress, the way that we impress, the way that we position, the way we project ourselves. In this world of Instagram, everything is filtered, everything is crafted and curated to almost project something that we're not. But maybe it's time to project what we are. And if that is vulnerability, then that is what makes us a true rock star. Manny has given us a sense as to who he is, who he really is. But it doesn't push me away. It brings me closer. It brings me closer because I might look at him and think, I could never be him. I have a face for radio. Manny has a voice for radio, and he has a face for TV. Look at this face. It is a face that truly only a mother could love. She'll tell you, my mother, by the way, she's watching. But it's time, I think, for us to figure out how we want to project a new, authentic truth to the world. Today in that coffee session, I projected, I don't know whether you want to call it wasn't humility, it wasn't hubris, it was maybe a bit of vulnerability, but it was just honesty, insecurities as well. I just think that the more we can find solace, comfort, security within our skin, the more we're going to be able to enjoy this incredible, unpredictable ride that is called life. So maybe it doesn't work for you. Maybe being vulnerable is something that tears you down and doesn't build you up. But the beautiful thing about being able to project that humanity, that vulnerability, is that people are so desperate out there to see themselves in you. And we all have that insecurity, that fear, that uncertainty. Are we going to make it? Yes, in the Web3 world, we all say, wag me. We're all going to make it. Not everyone will make it. But here's what we can do. We can ensure that we don't leave anyone behind. And it begins with just that little bit of vulnerability. And now it's time to bring on the man, the myth, the legend, that is Manny Cabo. Manny Cabo is a multiple award-winning singer-songwriter and producer featured on NBC's The Voice and Telemundo's La Voz. I don't even know if I pronounced that correctly. Also, an award-winning editorial photographer with over 125, EP and album covers. He's a top 1% desk music interview podcaster and author. And what is this you say about him being on The Voice? How do we know he was on The Voice? It's not authenticated. It's not on the blockchain. They haven't produced an NFT that tells us he was on The Voice. If only we had just a little bit of proof to show us that in fact, he turned all four chairs. If only we had it.
I don't know where I'm going, but I should know where I've been. Hanging on the promises with the songs of yesterday. 'Cause I know what it means to walk along the lonely street of dreams. And I made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. Here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a gentle I was born to walk alone, yeah. And I made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. Here I go again. Here I go again, yeah. Here I go.
I've got a feeling this guy's done this before.
I do
don't know what it is.
A little bit.
What's your name, man?
Manny Cabo. I'm from a
Manny Cabo. You just got a fifth chair turn. Wow, that was just awesome. Manny, welcome to the show. Come off mute, damn it.
I'm sorry. I was so engrossed in this presentation, which, by the way, eloquently put. The underscoring music was spot on. It was so tastefully done. Thank you, man. That means a lot. But, I was just reliving those moments, and it's incredible how that moment led to so many incredible doors opening up, so many valuable, indispensable connections. I met you, so yeah, it reverberates just this emotional awakening that's been dormant for a little bit, because as you know, I've been through some pretty difficult times this past 7 months. So thank you for reminding me that I've done some shit, man.
I mean, that was like air horn territory. I've done some gratuitous air horning on the show before, but never as deserved as just now.
Yeah, that was appropriate, I guess, right?
When you hit that high note, man. Woo!
Now, let me ask you this. Am I a charlatan now? Because now I'm actually not daughtry. So what does that make me? I don't.
I heard it this morning and I was like, ooh, I was like, excellent.
Yeah.
let me go and find it as well. I mean, daughtry wishes, right? Just
Daughtry's an amazing artist, man. He truly is. But
listen, he once sent a cameo in for my wife and sang happy birthday to her.
See, and you know what? I was just down. We were doing a tour because I'm the lead singer of the Wizards of Winter. We did a couple of a 10 sold out show tour down the East Coast, and he's a big North Carolina boy. And Gary would love this story too. And can I tell you, won over a lot of their fans. They're like, we'd rather have you because you sing in Spanish too. So let me tell you, man, I will gladly take that. That's a huge compliment because I love Daughtry. I love everything he's doing. I love everything that he's done thus far, and he's going to continue to do great things.
I'm looking at all the comments coming in. David Eth said so powerful, and prestidigitateur, I get it mixed up all the time, said Rockstar. Indeed, that's why I just put your title, Manny Cabo Rockstar.
Oh, you're so humbling, man. I'm just Manny from Elizabeth. I'm just a bald guy with a mic at the end of the day, and that's it's very flattering. It's very humbling. I worked really, really hard. Like I said, I've always been a big advocate to tell everybody, just put in the reps, and you actually alluded to what you said this morning. That's why I'm so surprised with the comment. You're like, you get luckier as you work harder, with that confidence. So it's so true. That's my superpower. I show up consistently, bring myself, connect myself to my truth, and I do the reps. That's it. I'm not the best at anything, man,
Do the reps is so true, and it's it's the 10,000 hours. It's the but it's more than that. I was thinking, and we'll get into this big time. There's the sad narrative that sometimes love is not enough, and it's true. Like in a marriage, in a relationship, love sometimes isn't enough. You have to work at the relationship, but I was thinking as well, talent isn't enough either in this world. Just to be talented, what talent gives you is it gives you a little bit of a start, a head start. But if you don't work hard, then everyone else is going to catch up.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And that's why the reps are so important.
And that's the only thing that separates the greats from the commonplace. You know, they're in there the earliest. They're the first ones to get in and the last ones to leave. And once you adopt that, it really is, it's a mindset. And I know we all talk about mindset, you know, ad nauseum, to the point where everyone thinks it's woo-woo, but it's really not. It's the simple things that we have to do, you know, because once we get into that mindset, you start building that consistency. And then from that consistency, you build that habitual lifestyle, which in turn leads to the success that we all want. You know, you can't cut corners. You know, it's this ladder of hierarchy. You've got to make every step count. You know, and that for me, I've always leveraged the power of the next step. What can I learn from who, from where? Which is why we talked about the whole giraffe tower. I had no idea I was going to be in here. You tell me this 6 months from now, I'd be like, listen, all I care about right now is gaining back the things that I've lost. And not so much that, but the integral things that allow me to do my job, to get behind the microphone, to do my photo shoots. That was the only thing I was thinking about. And it goes to show you the mental ability that we have to shift focus is probably the biggest talent that you could adopt. All you need to do is just make some little tiny tweaks in the way we think of things. Because what I did, I chose in the most dismal time of my life. You're looking at me right now in the studio. This was all leveled. The whole ceiling, there was 12 feet of water in my house, gone. There was nothing here. Sure, I was in a vulnerable spot. People knew it. I did lives, crying, telling people it's the worst that you could experience. I was lucky. 4 people down the road perished. So I embraced the power of still being here. I made it. I lived through this. And with life comes possibility. I didn't focus on the void. My mindset was like, listen, I made it through it. We did, my family and myself. I embraced and stayed in that attitude of gratitude of the things that's still here and leverage that. And with that power, with that energy, because the problem is we attach our emotions to these arbitrary outcomes that mean nothing. We cater to the hearsay. We cater to the criticisms, the toxic societal narratives, right, that infiltrate our thoughts. But we have to take a little step back and say, no, just like we told you this morning. Peace is an inside job. But the caveat is you got to do the work. If you do the work in whatever phase of life that you're in, you'll come out on top, but you got to do the reps.
Crowd is just literally going mental for you. Exactly. Where are they?
Where you're the one.
They're hiding. They're hiding.
Listen, Jaffe, at the end of the day, I say this all the time. I don't speak from my brain. I speak from my heart and from my experiences. And that to me is the authentication of the power of my words. I'm only speaking my truth. That may not be the same truth for everyone else, but I can tell you my truth. And that if that serves you, then so be it. But that's my secret, man.
So I'm going to kind of swim around this a little bit. And Brian says, huge respect for being able to overcome adversity and reframe your life and relaunch. But here's an interesting thought, because I mean today, believe it or not, is US Paper Money Day. Now, very appropriate, because we're living in a world where we've moved from paper money to digital money to now virtual. Well, there's virtual money in the metaverse, but there's also this little thing called NFTs and cryptocurrency. And so you and I, we're living in a world right now where, you know, we can celebrate US paper money because it's going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah, obsolete.
Soon enough, a collector's item.
Right.
The adversity that has come into your life, that has presented itself to you, that has quite frankly presented itself to the whole world over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Were we paying attention? Were we actually taking this as a gift? The gift being, if we were fortunate enough to leave with our lives, and so many people unfortunately lost their lives, could we use that to propel, to pivot, and to, you know, as this idea of relaunch.
Sure.
Rock stars, singers, songwriters, photographers, talented ones are a dime a dozen. I feel you're going to come out of this with a whole new innovative portfolio and set in terms of how you engage, how you build, how you curate, and how you go to market.
I do. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I've also endorsed the theory that you have to educate yourself. You have to understand the trends of the world, where this world is going. Um, so many things have been presented to me. I never thought, I own a few NFTs now. This is all within a 2-week span. And man, my head is spinning, and I'm sure you could attest to this. Like, it's so overwhelming learning this new language, these nomenclatures, these terms. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? But again, notice how I revert back to doing the reps. And confidence is bred from competence. So that's one thing that I've learned throughout my trajectory in life. That's a given formula that works. And I've proven it to myself. The more you learn, the more you earn, but you become more confident, right? I've always been a huge risk taker. So that's besides the point. So if you couple that to the competence, right, that's a recipe for success, any which way you look at it. But you are right. The trend of the future will be Web3, will be NFTs, will be cryptocurrencies. And to many, that's so obscure and even intimidating. But for me, I love a big challenge. Listen, man, I've been through hell and back. What's the worst that could happen? But I don't let it get to that point. I want to be ahead of the curve, but take it a step further. Like you, like people like Gary, I want to learn it well enough to teach, because that's the way I'm built. That's my DNA and how I'm programmed. Because I don't want people to feel overwhelmed, especially those in my ecosystem of the entertainment industry. But yeah, I agree with you.
And the Gary Henderson that he's referring to, that Manny's referring to, I mean, the Gary is Gary Henderson, who was on the show. Now, let's issue some challenges as well, which is Gary has undertaken to be the number one, the most watched episode. I think he's on 7,000 or 8,000 views, maybe. I think I've had more than that, but we'll let Gary believe he's in first position. Manny, can you take him down? Can you become the number one most watched episode on Joseph Jaffe Is Not Famous?
And that's great. Whether you're antagonizing me or not, but here's the thing: I'd like to. That's not my end game, but I'd like to. Sure, the rewards, the accolade of being able to say, Gary, I edged you out, bro. But here's the thing: it's not about that. If it does, fantastic. Knowing Gary and I share the same brain, there's so many commonalities with how we think. I never believed in competition. I believed in aligning yourself with your truth, right? Doing the reps, as I said, putting the best foot forward, giving your best performance every single time, for the reason that you never know who's watching, right? But I also provide that element, that impetus for competitors watching me. Because I put my blinds on, just like a horse does in a race. I don't look to the left. I don't look to the right. I've done all the work. By this time, it's like doing a performance. By the time I get on stage, I already did all the work. Now it's time to enjoy. So if I'm on this show providing value to all the listeners, and it goes to the best viewed episode that Jaffe has ever had, that is awesome. But for me, the value in that is that the amount of people that watch this get to hear what I'm all about, get to understand my philosophy, and know that I'm coming from a place of service. And the people that beat Gary, that's even more people that I can inspire. See, I look at that. I never looked at it as a competition. This is healthy. It's friendly. Plus, we're all in the same community now. So I could use that to elevate the tower. For those of you who don't know, that's the Gary Club, the tower. You own a giraffe, but that we could, that's a topic for another day.
I'm throwing all these laying all these traps and these pitfalls for you, and you're not falling into any of them. But Lubna says, of course he can. So we'll see what happens. Now, Tom, on his walk, he said, Manny is speaking the wisdom of the great philosophers. Lemons to lemonade, baby. We're here to be alchemists of transformation. Nicely and he adds, the hell and back people become the heroes like Odysseus. That's the South African in me.
I'm so sorry. It's Odysseus, mate. It's Odysseus.
Odysseus, mate, and Manny, Manodysseus,
Right, there you go.
Manissimus.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
All right, let's take a break for a moment and hear what Tom actually has to say. This segment is called, I think, very appropriately based on what we're discussing today, Manny. This one is called Our Work.
Hey, everybody. You know, there have been times in my career as a philosopher when I felt great because I was getting so much attention for the work I was doing, whether it was the New York Times or The Economist or CNN or ABC or NBC. It was crazy. But there have been other times when I felt nearly invisible. And you know what? Neither should matter. Both are just distractions. The work itself is what matters. It has its own value. And that's just true for whatever we do. We should try to remember that. The public reaction, the popular reception is never the only thing that matters. It's rarely the main thing. And most often, it doesn't even matter at all. Quality and quantity are just different things. Giving and getting, action and reaction. We should keep these things separate in our minds. Yeah, I try to do my work for what it is, and I hope it benefits other people as it does me. But I just need to learn to release all that concern about where the work goes in the public domain. The great wisdom traditions have tremendous insight about what we should embrace and what we should release. In letting go all our concerns about how our work is received, how it's compensated, how it's praised, whether it's neglected, in letting go all of this, there's a deep freedom to be found for doing your work well, for being who you are and flourishing in the world in all the best ways. We need to get better in our focus. We need to get better in what we care about. And then the work gets better too. This is something I've been thinking about, and I hope it helps you think through your own priorities and your own focus. Happy thinking.
Love it. The work.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%, and again, yeah, what he said, that's basically all I've got, and here's another thing that I also want to point out, Jaffe, that I've been thinking about that for such a long time, because we always worry about, the fear of illusion and putting in the work, and I truly believe this, if we use our stories, like what I just discussed with Hurricane Ida and losing my dad, if we use those stories, we use our hardships, we use our tribulations, and we use those stories to service others, then it becomes this huge emancipation from the shame and the illusion of fear. Because we're always worried about, what are people going to think about us? Like, what if I don't do this? What if this happens? I don't really worry about that, man. That was great, and I love the format of the show. I got to tell you, kudos to you, because it's great, these little segues that you have in there, whether it's to support what I'm saying or just to throw it out there to your audience. I love it, man. This is great.
I have one more because I think it speaks to what Tom was saying as well, which is I always find a quote, and this is the quote that I found for you. I won't be a rock star. I will be a legend.
I love it.
And this was not said by Manny Cabo, although it could have been. It was Freddie Mercury.
Wow, I'm in the same space as Freddie. Well, maybe not so much, but you know what? I'll take that certainly as a compliment. But here's the thing, though, to add to what this quote is saying, this is actually spotlights my other philosophy. There's only two pains, me personally. Again, this may not resonate with everyone, but for me, it certainly does. There's only two pains in my life: the pain of discipline, doing the work, or the pain of regret, You choose one. I know which one I'm going for. If you do the work, the end result will certainly, I mean, certainly, adamantly, feverishly, pick an adjective, almost guarantee the results that we all desire. So that's awesome. I love that. I won't be a rock star. I'll be a legend. And you know what? Maybe so. I'm not working toward being a legend, but you know what? I'm working to elevate. My goal is to elevate and inspire 1 billion people in my ecosystem and make
Well, there
this
you
world
go.
a
I
better
mean,
place.
that is a stake in the ground. That is a line in the sand.
Yeah.
That is a North Star. I mean, that is a vision and a mission that is worth pursuing. And by the way, one thing you don't want to be, which is what I am actually a legend in my own mind. But you want to try and get to the other one, right? Which is the legend in your own time as well. We got a laugh track. We got a cheesy laugh. I mean, the studio audience thought that was very funny. Tom says, I taped my segment 2 days ago before I knew the guest, but intuition connected us. Isn't that just beautiful?
Yeah.
Intuition done right is the great connector. So, looks like the two of you are bonded. And by the way, Manny, I'm why I showed that quote there and then is because, you don't want to live in the past. Nobody wants. You don't want to be known as the 4-chair. I don't even know the answer to it, but I'm telling the answer. The answer is you don't want to be known as the 4-chair turn guy on The Voice. You want to be known for the last piece of thought leadership, the last quote, the last piece of philosophy, the last audience that you inspired, and your best work as well. May your last work be your best work, not something that lives in the past, to what was it, 2015, etc. That's how you become a legend. You become a legend, not just, in the time that you're living in and thereafter. And I see you on this journey as well. And I want to know, where is Manny Cabo heading? Because are you going to take on Tony Robbins? Never mind, with all this wisdom and philosophy coming out of your mouth.
Definitely not tackling anyone. I'm just staying in my lane.
Fall into the trap, damn it. Fall into the trap.
I love Tony. I grew up, I remember having his little cassettes. You remember those days where, damn it, you'd get in and you get the pencil to rewind the tape cassette. If you haven't been there, then you don't know. The struggle was real, people. The struggle was real. But yeah, Tony was one of my mentors, distant mentors. And you couldn't even say digital mentors because it was all analog back then. But I did adopt a plethora of techniques that I've implemented throughout the years. But I certainly am wedded to his philosophy, and I remember listening to his tape. I was in my bedroom, and I remember he said, I had nothing. I was in barely a 1-bedroom apartment, and I had no idea what was going to happen. This was it. I was at that crossroads, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And all of a sudden, here's the thing, guys. There's a big word in this life that we have. It begins with the letter D. It's decision. We need to decide. And unfortunately, so many people wait until they get to that crossroads, until the worst thing that could possibly happen to get that incentive. If we learn to just say, you know what, let me prepare, to use the word that was just, alluded to earlier before. If we just learn to prepare prior and anticipate a little bit more, because I don't know where the world is going, but I do know what my truth is. I know what I want to accomplish. I know the things that I have to acquire with respect to knowledge, technology, my message, to at least sediment that message. I know what my goal is. It's a big goal. And again, I'll say this, and I know you've heard this a million times. If your dreams and your goals do not scare you and don't take you back and be like, what the hell are you thinking? Then you're not thinking big enough. Because the truth is, man, you could accomplish whatever the hell you want. You truly can. I know I have. I'm up to like maybe 60% of the things that I've always wanted to accomplish. And there's a lot more. And believe me, they're extremely bold. Talk about tall order. But yeah, do I want to top Tony Robbins? If I do, that would be amazing, because the only thing that would mean I'd have my own island, because obviously he always talked about owning his own island. Not, that's not.
You can in the metaverse. I mean, that's
You
easy.
can, you really can, and then drop it as an NFT, right?
Yeah, but I mean that just shows you actually like I mean, what was your quote? If your goals or your dreams, right? If your goals don't scare you,
Yeah, then you're not dreaming big enough.
right? And
Yeah.
so even the ability, can you imagine like 5 years ago or 10 years ago, just manifesting that you would own your own island, and now actually maybe it's cheating, maybe it isn't. In the metaverse, you could literally own your own island. And
There you
so
go.
now what you're going to do? I'm going to Disneyland. I don't know.
I don't know either, but you know
You
what?
just bought yourself an island. What are you going to do next? I'm going to
Yeah.
go to Disneyland.
Yeah, Disneyland for me will be chump change at that point.
I'm going to buy Disneyland.
There you go. Now you're talking my language, man. Why not? Disney's probably like, yeah, go for it, man. I'm tired anyway.
So,
I'm done.
Let's go back and just challenge the idea for a second, because it's
Okay.
very interesting to me. If your dreams aren't, don't scare you, they're not big enough. What do you say? I'm not challenging the idea. I love the idea.
Yep.
I mean, you know me. My dream is I am a talk show host. Now I need to be on Apple TV Plus or CNBC.
Right.
I'm manifesting it. I'm saying it publicly. It's scary as shit, because
Nice.
what if I don't, and how, and blah, blah, blah. But what do you say to someone who goes, actually, my dream, my goal is just to be able to pay down the mortgage, is just to work 9 to 5, is just to come home, and have a day where nothing happens, where life is just completely monotonous and uneventful. What do you say to that person?
The thing I say is, and that's okay. There's no right or wrong answer to this. If that's going to bring you happiness, then that's what you need to do. The key at the end of the day is, what in life is going to get you to that next level of happiness, of being able to live this life and carry out the rest of your days feeling happy. For some people, it's just finding a quiet place, being able to meditate every day, connecting themselves with nature. I don't know what that is. There's no logical or direct answer to that. There's no right answer. The only thing that I can advocate is, whatever it is that deep in your soul, in your spirit, that will make you happy, do that. Find a way to do that. They tell me, I've always said, listen, I need to write a song, because this is my ultimate goal. And Paul McCartney, if you're listening, I want to write a song with Paul McCartney. Why? Because I have a direct connection to that. There's this deep, profound correlation to my upbringing. I grew up with the Beatles. My dad introduced me to the Beatles. It's all I knew. The most influential band in the world, reinvented themselves 4 times in a plethora of awards. That's my goal. Some people be like, dude, you're insane. And I said, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If people aren't ridiculing you, if people aren't criticizing you, if people aren't nullifying you from their groups, right, then you're not doing something right. But there are those that are like, I don't need all that. I just want to come home, pet my dog, know that my mortgage is paid, and not have any concerns. And if that's your true happiness, dude, that's amazing. Do that. Some people live that simplistic life. That's awesome. There's this huge delineation between people, but that's what makes us unique. Could you imagine everyone thinking like you and me? Not everybody wants to write a song about Paul McCartney. Who cares about Paul McCartney? I'm into classical music. Point I'm trying to make is, whatever it is that will serve you, that will contribute to the elation, to that euphoria that we're all looking for, find a way to do that.
And by the way, just to kind of come full circle, for someone, the ability to actually come back to a quiet home and meditate, that might scare them. That might actually scare them, because they're used to this world that validates externally, superficially, because of how we define self-worth. And ultimately, and the fact that you brought it back to happiness is fantastic. Now, I'm just going to release a little bit of alpha here, which is, next week, I actually have Paul McCartney coming into the studio.
Please tell me you're joking, man.
No, Paul McCartney. Unfortunately, his last name is spelled with a K, not a C. So,
son of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, exactly. There's the hook. You're like, damn it, why did I agree to go on his show?
Hook, line, and sinker, man.
So you saw a clip earlier, people watching about Manny turning 4 chairs on The Voice. He is a philosopher. He is a student. He is a teacher. He's a multifaceted and talented individual. But he does sing. He writes and he sings. And whilst I have no doubt that you will write that song to Paul McCartney with a C, you've written some amazing music. I and people watching would be only too honored if you would perform for us today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's my jam, dude. Of course, whenever you're ready. I'm always ready. Like I told you today earlier, if you hand me a mic and said, Manny, you know what? We need you to perform at Madison Square Garden. I'd be like, all right, what time and place? Talk to me. And I think that's the comfort zone that I have. I think doing the reps will get you to that place. 100%.
All right. Well, give us one rep right now. I will, as Mike Tyson would say, it's an old line. I will fade into Bolivian, and Manny, take it away.
All right. So I'm going to do a little excerpt of a song that I released a few months ago. It's called Crazy, and how apropos, right? It's the crazies that change the world. And this song is about the relationship. I wrote this being on the road and always away from the people that have contributed to my life, my loved ones, as I would say, quote unquote. And I hope it resonates with you. And this is an acoustic version. These are really difficult to do without a full band, but I'm going to do it for you, Jaffe, because I like you. And you could stream this on Spotify and every major streaming platform.
Just a little under an hour, still I hit the stage for another show. Driving on this road feels like forever, knowing that I'm gonna see you soon. And when you held me close that day, oh, you took my breath away. If we could live that night again, I wouldn't change one damn thing. Nah, I wouldn't change anything, 'cause you drove me crazy, yeah. When you held me, baby, yeah, yeah. And there's nothing that I'd rather do, be here all alone with you again. Whoa, 'cause you drove me crazy. Oh.
There you go, Jaffe.
Oh, I was muted this time.
I know. I was like, wait a second, am I losing my hearing?
So we both did it.
See, man, you got to embrace.
Gino said, "Put your lighters up." Well, we did the equivalent. Yes, yes,
Love
I
Gino.
know. Thank you, everybody, for telling me I was muted. I was muted because I didn't want in any way, shape, or form to disrupt or interrupt. So I came. I had the audience going. I was rim shotting. I was just hitting every damn button on my Roadcaster. That really was beautiful.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
So let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
A little bit of a complete, and now for something completely different, which is when we were talking about things that were on your mind. Because, I want people in the time we have left, I think they've all seen into your soul, and it is a beautiful soul in terms of who you are, where you've come from, and where you're going. But I'd like to focus a little bit more on where you are heading. But first of all, one of the things that you said when we were discussing is, I loathe the amount of heat in the world. And I thought to myself, well, does that mean he doesn't like spicy food? Does it mean he
Of course
doesn't
you
like?
would. Of course you would.
Yeah. Does it mean he doesn't like warm climates, or does it mean that the heat represents anger? It represents tension. It represents a temperature in the world that is not conducive to love, to unity, and to the ability to come together for a greater good. So, which heat is it?
It's it's the second one. Yeah, there's a lot of angst in this world. There's a lot of overwhelm in this world. But I think um, the cause of that is obviously ignorance, unfortunately. It's the crazies don't scare me. The sociopaths don't scare me because you know what they're all about. You know what their intentions are. It's the ignorant people that scare me. It's the ones that are unpredictable. And there is a significant amount of hate in this world. I'm a huge advocate against anti-hate, anti-bullying, anti-suicide. I've won awards for songs about that. So they're really, really dear to me. There's a huge connection for that. And when I see things happening overseas, like what's happening with Ukraine, it's it's unbelievable and unfathomable to think that these things are still occurring in 2022. It's like we're retrograding. You would think that we'd be progressing. So all I'm trying to do, Jaffe, at the end of the day, is utilizing my skills, my artistry, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't even know what I do half the time. I use that to offset that hate, that heat, that fire, and not the good sense of fire, because that's a term that's dropped off. And dude, and Manny, that song was fire. Not it. I'm just trying to make the world a better place than when I got here. That's it, man. It's nothing complicated. I'm taking the minimalistic approach on this one. That's my answer for you, Jaffe.
It's a hell of a response, and you know, it's interesting because I've certainly had many conversations about hate, and you said a few things that were really interesting and original. One is attaching it to ignorance. That's not so much. I've heard that idea before, but the question, of course, is you then connected it to this idea of being unpredictable, and so I've never seen that attachment before. That ignorance can actually lead to unpredictability. And so the converse of that, or the corollary of that, would be being educated, being informed, being aware leads to a predictable behavior and outcome. That doesn't make you boring. It means at least that we can have a real conversation, a real dialogue, a real relationship, because you don't have to be sleeping with one eye open. You don't have to be looking over your shoulder. You don't have to worry about the next move. And I'll say one more thing and then turn it back to you, which is then you said, I don't fear the crazies. And I thought to myself, well, I guess the thing about someone who's crazy is that they're predictable. They're predictably crazy. So if anything, I feel like there's something really interesting worth exploring and developing for you and by you. And it is this idea of predictability versus unpredictability. That is the Manny Cabo, piece de resistance, or point of differentiation.
That's interesting. I never really looked at it that way. I just, what I do, I gather all the intel that I can from my life experiences, and then I make a conscious decision. Certain things will exacerbate positive outcomes. Others will do exactly the opposite. But the only thing that I have enough insight in is, again, I only speak from my own personal experiences and the things that I've seen throughout my existence here on this planet. And it's like, even serial killers, the FBI have narrowed it down to the things they've become so predictable so they could at least tackle it potentially where the next move is. It's the ignorant ones that fail to educate themselves, that boast and trumpet these exploits of falsity that scare me, because those, in fact, are the ones, unfortunately, that the world and our youth are listening to. It's babble, it's noise, and our kids are exposed to that noise, right? So we really need to be careful where we get our information from. And Gary says this all the time, and so many of the greatest entrepreneurs and leaders of the world said, do your own research, find out and validate the information that you're getting. Don't just consume information. Make a valid assessment and judgment of the information that you're intaking. And then from there, Once you've gathered, right? Once you've compiled a significant amount of data, then you can postulate, then you can make your own decision. But at least from that standpoint, you're educated enough to say, okay, well, it can't be B. If I add C into the equation and then minus B, you see where I'm going? It's like a mathematical problem. And you know, numbers don't lie. And me, myself, I'm a very binary person. Either it's truth or fact. There's no shades of gray with me. And I only come to that conclusion after I've done a significant amount of research.
Yeah,
You know,
it's no,
Go
it's I was thinking about, the FBI, that's the whole concept of profiling.
exactly.
Is that people fit into some kind of predictable, and it is therefore the and whether it's a serial killer or it's a potential client, in the manufacturing of widget business, it's the unpredictable ones that are the hardest ones to figure out, that are the hardest ones to read, that are the hardest ones to do business with or build a relationship with. So I feel I'm excited. I'm excited to read your new book because Manny has a new book coming out. We have a little bit of an insight in terms of what the name is. It's called Predictably Awesome. I just decided to come up with the name. But
Last minute fabrications are good, dude. It's good.
Tell us as much about the book as you possibly want to share with us. And because of course, if people want to find out and figure out and buy into the book and buy into you, then they're going to do it through your socials and they're going to do it through your website. So what do you want to tell us about the book at the moment?
Wow, this is great because this is actually a first timer because I've never really discussed the book. I know for me, it's a really, really powerful moment in my life. And the book generally is to highlight the narrative that we all feel that we know where we want to go, right? We always want to have control over our future. And the best way to dictate that is to work on the present, right? That appears to be the same thing. But sometimes life throws you that curveball. And it's a story about a young lady, right? And this is going to resonate well with my female fans of the world because I think we need more female leaders in this world because we men, we screw shit up. But anyway, that's another narrative. We could, talk hours at length, but it's a story to let you know that sometimes you have to embrace the contrast in life to truly see the clarity that we want. And sometimes our thoughts are so garbled because the brain has over 60,000 thoughts a day, and most of them lean toward the deficit, the lack, the doubt, the fear, right? So sometimes there's a cosmic 2x4 that happens like, no, Manny, because my goal was to always be a Major League Baseball player. And I got cut from 2 baseball teams, worked my ass off, took my team to the city championships, then got drafted to play pro ball. That's the type of person that I am. But something happened, tore my rotacuff. My baseball career was over. Was that the end of Manny? Absolutely not. So this book will highlight and quote unquote educate you on the possibilities of that quote unquote something else that you never even anticipated could happen. So
amazing. Well, I when the book comes out, please come back into the studio.
I would love to.
And we will do it again. Tom Morris says, Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius recommended consistency for its many benefits, among which is that people can actually know who you are, and so can you. So,
thanks, Tom.
I was thinking the book was the other title I had for the book is Do the Reps. Short and sweet, but maybe I see multiple books in the horizon. Glenn says, "Me too for baseball, still playing pitching and hoping I get drafted at
good for you, Glenn.
At 65."
Hold on to that dream, man.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, because I know I got a hard stop here because actually Gino's going to kill me because I had another interview. But here's the thing: you may not get drafted. All right, that's the realistic thing, right? At that age, however, you might be able to throw the first pitch out at whatever Yankee Stadium, perhaps. I don't know, but you don't know that. But hold on to that dream. That's what I'm trying to tell people. Just hold on to that passion that you have inside, because you never know when the opportunity is going to be presented. How do you know that I don't know the Steinbrenner family? from the Yankees. You'd be like, you know what, dude, I love for that. Just because you mentioned that comment, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to make a phone call right now. You're going to throw the first pitch. If that's what you always wanted to be, I'm going to give you at least a taste of being on that diamond, brother.
You said it earlier. You never know who's watching. You never know who's watching. This has been guest number 344, Manny Cabo, who is not the predictable rock star. He's so much more than that. We didn't even have enough time to find out about how he makes people laugh with his voiceovers. But when you look at the end of the show, I feel like I need Manny Cabo in this show's future. And so I'm going to be hitting him up for voiceovers big time. But if you love his voice, and who wouldn't, on so many levels, you're going to want to connect with him. You're going to want to subscribe to his rocking podcast, Mojo for Musicians, and New Listening Lounge segment. Check out his new music being released over the coming months on Spotify. Subscribe to his channel on YouTube. Follow him on Metabook. Discourse with him in Discord. Find him in the club. Follow him on Instagram and Twitter. And if you really are smart, you'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and hang out with Manny and myself in the morning. Tom Morris says, great guest.
Love
Brian
you, man.
says, great interview. Thanks so much for sharing. There is nothing left to do except to hear what another rock star, because he'd kill me if I didn't call him that, Chuck Norris had to say about the Manny Cabo.
You are Chuck Norris approved.
And we will be back tomorrow with non-fungible people. This has been non-fungible Jaffe with non-fungible Cabo. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching the show about hope, positivity, optimism, and if there's time left over, a little bit of marketing with your host, multiple author, and global keynote speaker, Joseph Jaffe. If you like the show, tell a friend or two. Please subscribe to the show, and if you want to get inside news, previews of upcoming guests, and much more, visit josephjaffe.com/subscribe to sign up for the show's newsletter.
And despite the best ministrations of your wife, you still look ugly.